Hello, fellas.
Hi.
Okay, I will see my screen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take a look at the assignment of last week, okay? So that's the correct answer, right? You have a dot class, you have init function, okay? Take 3 properties value, okay? And then I have 3 functions inside the class. Each function gonna have a different logic, right? It takes parameters, okay? What do you see here, right? All the function inside the take self as the default first parameter, okay? And then what you're gonna see here is inside the function, you're able to using self.name, right? Or .age or .breed, which can accept the value of the property, okay? So the last function called greet, right? It is parsing itself, nothing else. But still, I'm able to fetching the property of the self, right? Breed, name, age, right? Whichever the value is assigned in the init function. That's the definition of class. How are we using that, right? That's called object. You see here, I call the 3 object. I mean, here is 3 dots, right? The first dot's name, that's called a variable, okay? It's max, right? I call the dot. I'm passing the name, age, and breed, right? So once I do this, right, it's basically called the init function, right? I initialize an object for the class dot. Okay, after I initialize the object, okay, what I'm doing is I'm called object dot greet. Greet is the function, okay? I didn't pass in any parameter. Why? Because there's no extra parameter except the self, right? Self, I don't need to do anything. Same thing for eat. I'm passing 1 parameter, which is for the food, okay? So the value can be used inside the function. Bark, I'm parsing a string parameter, right? Which will be used inside the function. That's called one object, okay? That is the second object. That's the third object, okay? With different value of the property, right? Different value for the property, but their function are the same. Okay, so we have 1 class, but we have 3 objects here. Very good, right? So quickly to go over several main points of the class and object we're talking about, last week. Alice, right? What is the keyword when we're using to create or define a new class? What's the keyword we're using at the beginning?
Class.
Define a new class. What?
Class.
Class. Very good, right? We're using class, then we put the class name, right? Can be a dog, can be a car, right? Whatever you wanted to use to name the class. And we put colon, right? There's no parents, okay? There's no brackets. Just class and the class name. And then whatever you wanted to put inside the class, pay attention to the indentation. Okay? Pay attention to indentation. Second, once we have the class, right? We said, hey, I can create. What is class? Jeffrey, what is class as you understand?
Okay. A class, I think a class in Python is a group of objects?
It's a group of object. I think I corrected this understanding last week also. It's not a group of objects. Okay, it's a prototype of objects. Okay, you can have one class. Okay, so here, what does it mean, right? I can have a class for the car. Okay, and then for the car, I can have an object which is coming from the class for the Ford, right? For the Tesla, right? Different type of car. That's called object of the car. The car, you cannot say it's a group of different cars. It's just like a prototype or the template when you are used to define a specific car. That's called a class. Okay? That's called class. Victor, in this case, right, how many class and how many objects do you think we can have?
I think there is one class.
One class? Very good. How many objects we can have?
Any amount you want, I guess.
Yes. So you have a class. Definitely you can create as many as objects you want, right? Coming from the class. Okay, very good. Okay. Louis, right? What can we have in a class?
You can have like anything from list to stuff.
Sorry, say that again.
You can basically have like anything, like for example, list. And, like,
Anything? What?
like from like list.
You can complete your sentence.
So you can basically have like anything from like list to names, like that.
Okay, Aston, right? What can we have inside the class?
You can have functions.
What else? Remember what we talked about last time? You can have functions. Yeah, you can have functions, right? So like if you describe a type of stuff, right? Function is normally something like actions, right? But what about those static things? What we call them inside the function? Like color, name, what's that called?
Parameters?
Parameter? No, it's not parameter. Parameter is for the function, right? It's not called parameter. It's actually called properties, right? I mean, different content has different terms. Somebody called it's called property. Somebody calls attributes, right? But they're the same concept. It's basically, as I said, right? Property, attributes, they used to describe, okay, some static information of this class, right? You remember the example I used last time? Let me see. Okay, like this one. This one, we have a class car, right? So here we have three different properties, right? Year, make, and model. Okay, that's three are called properties. Okay, look at here. What's the property we have here? Name, age, breed, and we also have three functions. Okay, so inside a class, we can have properties and functions. Okay? Julian, how can we create an object? Julian? Suppose you have a class called a car, right? Or dog. Now you want to create an object of the class. How are you going to do?
Car.name, whatever.
I don't know, whatever, what? You
Car
finish the
dot
assignment,
name.
right? You finish the assignment, right? I have a class.
Yeah.
How can we create an object? Right? I have a dog class. How can I create a dog object? What do you see? Right? I just using, first of all, right, you need to have a object variable. You need to have some variable to holding the object, right? So you can give a different variable name, okay? And the variable gonna equals to what? The class, okay? Class name, right? Branded, and then passing the value for the properties, okay? So for example, if I have a class car, right? I said a year, maker, model, whatever, right? And now I want to create objects for the class car, right? Okay, I want to create a Ford, right? Again, here, what is the Ford? Ford is just like a variable name. You can change to anything, like A, that's fine, right? Car, year, not year, right? I need a passing value, right? Right? Ford, I don't know what is model anyway, model X, right? So that's a way how you create an object from a class. Again, A is a object variable. It's a variable, right? It's holding an object. Okay, you can use different name, but normally when we said that you create a variable, we have to think about what's the purpose of the variable, right? If the purpose of the variable is just like holding a car object for the Ford, normally we just give it a Ford as his variable name. Okay. Again, right? If I wanted to create different car object, okay, I need to have a different variable, but using the same way to create, right, the object. Okay, that's the way how we create an object, right? How to access the properties or functions. Okay, suppose here we haven't talking about the function yet, right? I have a property, year, make, model. Now, suppose I have a function set start, right? Of course, I need a def start self, and then I have set running or drive, right? Okay, I have two functions defined inside a class. So now, after I create an object for the class car, how can I access the properties or functions? Victor, can you tell me? I have the Ford object and Tesla object, right? Now I wanted to access their property. I want to print out, hey, the year of the Ford was created. Victor, you there?
Yes.
How can I access the properties?
I'm not really sure, but I think I don't know.
Look at here, okay? Look at this. Okay, this is a function call, right? That's very easy, right? So you just need using what? The object name. What is the object name here? Ford is the object. Tesla is the object, right? So you need object name, not property name. Okay, if you want to know the year of the Ford, you just put Ford.year. Okay, same. If you wanted to call a function of the object, right, you can use Ford.start and print it, right? That's called you call a function of an object. Okay, so if you look at the assignment, right, though we didn't set the property directly from the object, but we're trying to call in the function of the object, right? So object name dot. Okay, it's a dot, right? Not property name, not function name, right? That's the way how we access the property and the function for an object, right? So init function, okay? Julian, what is the init function? What is it used for?
I'm gonna die again.
To create the
Oh, okay.
I forgot what it was called.
What is it called? When the init function can be called? Tell me.
The car thing. I forgot what it was called.
Huh? I'm asking you when this init function can be called. You know? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Aston, when the init function can be called?
Right after you create the class, it's gonna create the properties.
Right after you create an object. You create like this. When you create these objects, okay, if I have a init function like this, okay, and again, right, you have a year maker model, okay, so I have an init function. This function is used to initialize your object, okay. It's like, yeah, you have a class prototype. I want to create a specific object. So it's called initialize. When you initialize that, this function going to be called automatically. You create an object like this. It's actually will be called the init function, right? And what we do inside init function, right? We normally assign the parsing value to the properties. Okay, here, right? I'm parsing the name h3. In the init function, I mainly assign the value to the property of myself. What's the meaning of self here? Jeffrey, what's the meaning of self here?
It's it takes the the input you put into it. Like for example, if you put the name equals Jake, then the self name will be Jake. But like if you put
What is self here? When we say self, is represent who?
yourself.
The self keyword here is used to represent the object. What does it mean? Right? What does it mean? Look at the assignment here, right? Max is the object variable name. Okay? I create an object of dot, right? So the self is actually stands for the object. Okay? So which means, hey, this object's name is Max. This object's age is 2. This object's breed is Alaskan. You see? So repeat again. The self is then the object itself. Okay? That's the reason why when you said max dot equals to dot, the self is max. Okay? When I say max dot greet, the self is max. Max dot eat, the self is max. Right? So the self is whatever the current object you are talking about, right? If we change to Bob, then the self means the current object is Bob, right? Bob the grade, Bob the eat. Okay, so that's the meaning of self. So, I mean, if you are having the, why do I have the self in all the function, right? It's mainly for you to be able to use all the property of the object inside your function. For example, greet. I didn't pass in any extra parameter. I just took the self, right? But I have the self, which means I can access all the property of the self object, right? Breed, the name, age. They are all the property of the object. The value is coming from where? The value is already assigned here, right? Self, the name, age, and breed. Okay? So the self in function, self stands in for the object itself. Okay? It will be used as first parameter by default. Okay. Now let's take a look at this pages, right? There's a different pages talking about classes and objects. Okay. I mean, so far, do we have any question for all the things I'm talking about here? Any question? Okay, so we continue. So here in this page, objects are an encapsulation of variable and function inside a single entity. Object is their variable and function from classes. So here the variable, the same concept of properties, right? Classes are essentially a template to create your, okay, what do you see? Classes are a template to create your objects. A very basic class will look like this. Okay, so Louis, explain me this class. Louis,
Yeah.
what is inside this class? Tell me. Huh? Louis,
It's basically just like a random variable in there, and then just like.
is that your phone problem?
大声一点，老师说你每次回来的他都听不见。
Okay, I think we need talking about that, right? Okay, Alice, let's have a try. Alice, in this
Yeah.
example, right? Explain to me. Explain to me what do you see here? What's the name of the class?
I don't know.
The
Like, is
name
it
of the class.
I think the class is my
my
class.
class?
Sorry, Felix, what is it?
My class.
My class is the class name. Very good. Okay, there's a class. And what do we have inside the class?
This is a message inside the class.
Okay, that is actually, you know, whatever inside the function, right? So tell me how many properties it has. We just said, right? Inside the function, we can have what? We can have property and a function, right? Of course, we said that property is the same meaning of the attribute or the variable, right? And here we're talking about variable. So how many variables do we have here in this class? Fellas?
What?
How many variables?
I don't know.
Okay, Victor, you want to try? What do we have inside the class?
A variable, I think.
A
and
variable?
function.
Okay, so that's one variable, right? And it has a value. And what else?
A function.
A function. What's the function name?
Self.
What's the function name?
Oh, I don't know. I forgot.
Function name, function. A little bit tricky here, okay?
Oh, okay.
The function name function, okay? And we have a self, right? So that's a class. We have a property or we have a variable, right? Here using the name directly, just like let you know, hey, this is a variable and this is a function, okay? So look at here. This example, after I have defined the class, I can able to create an object of a class. And then after create an object, right, we're able to using object dot variable, right, to get the value. Okay, to get the value. So if I said print my object x dot variable, Alice, what's the output?
The variable.
Yeah, and try and print out the value of object dot variable. What will be print out?
Blah.
Yes, blah. Why? Because blah is the default value for variable. Right? Run that, you got blah. That's it. Right? Again, you have the object. You can use the dot property name or variable name to set the prompt. Okay. So yeah, this is print out blah, right? Okay, here we have Julian. Julian,
Huh?
how many objects created here? How many objects created here?
2.
What are they?
My object X, my object Y.
Okay, good. My object X and my object Y. So there are 2 objects created from the same class. Okay? And my object Y dot variable equals to yakiti. It looks like it's changing the variable. It's changing the value of the variable, right? Of object Y, right? And here, then print out both variable. I try to print out the value of the variable, but from different objects. So here, what will be the output? Jeffrey, what will be the output for this? Jeffrey?
I think the output will be
Will be what?
blah.
Huh?
I don't know.
You don't know? You're not following me, okay? Right? So don't do something else. Aston, what will be the output for the print?
For the first one, it would be bond. For the second one, it would be yakati.
Yes. Let's see. So this explains to you, okay? I can create many objects from a class, okay? And each object containing their own properties, right? Remember, I can have a car class.
Okay.
Understand, Jeffrey?
Yeah.
I can have one class, and I can have multiple different objects from the car class, right? For the Tesla. They're separate. No, they're coming from the same class, but they're separate because they have different value for their own properties. Okay, so that's the reason why at the beginning, because the variable had the value blah, so at the beginning, both object x and object y, right, have the same value for variable. But, right, I am able to change the value of the variable of a specific object. So now I print out they're very different. Okay, access object function. That's what I said. Object dot function name. Okay, and print it. Okay, so look at this example. Create vehicle class. I have 4 different variables, 4 different properties, and I have one function. Okay, but it looks like missing something here, right? Your code goes here, right? So basically, right, it is missing the code which should, create the object, right? I think we have to restart the meeting, okay? Yeah, if I add that, I run this, okay? So I'm able, because you have to create an object, then you're able to use in the object dot function name. Okay? So let's restart the meeting. Okay, come back here. Okay, look at this example. Paris, and try it again. What do we have here? What's the class name?
Car.
How many property it has?
3.
And it has a function.
What?
Does it has a function?
No.
Okay. Right, correct. So I have a simple class called car. It has 3 properties, and they have default value. They don't have any function, including they don't have init function either. Because some of you may be confused. Sometimes it has init function, sometimes it doesn't have init function. Right? Look at these 2. Okay. Class 2. Yeah. That's actually 2 different ways how we create class. Do you see a difference? First one, I don't have any function, including don't have any function. The class 2 function, the class 2 class, it had init function. Okay, I don't have those like the property explicitly to define. What I do is inside init function, I assign the past value to those properties. Okay, Victor, for the second class, car2, right? How many properties does it have? Victor?
I think 4.
4? What are they?
Self, brand, model, year.
Okay. Self is not property. Self is reference to the object. Okay? There's only 3 properties. But the property will be the same. What is it here? My class, okay, print my car dot brand. Okay, if I run this, what do you see? I print out the Tesla, right? Which means what? Which means I create an object, and now I print out the property of the object. What happened here? my car2, car2. Can I do like this? I don't know. Let's try, right? Because here, I didn't pass in any value, right? Now I'm just trying to see if this case is gonna work. It's not working, right? Line number 15, this line. Okay, it said there's an init function, so which means if you want to create the object, you need to pass in whatever required arguments. But here, the 3 arguments are required, which are brand, model, year. Okay, so in this case, you cannot create objects like this. I have to pass in the value. Okay, that's a way how I create an object if the object has the init function. If the object don't have init function, what? I just call the class name without parsing anything. Okay, now if I run this,
That's what I have here.
you're gonna see the different brand gonna be
Vinegar.
printed out.
Okay.
So my question is, what is the advantage or disadvantage, right? Why do we have to use the init function? Why we cannot using this one? This I think is more straightforward and easy, right? I also have the 3 properties. Why do I have to create an init function and then take the parameters and then assign the value to the parameter? Why? Aston, have you think about why do we need writing the init function? Aston?
I think it's for like the objects, so in it like
if you look at the way how we are create object from the class, you're gonna see, hey, though it looks like simple, but what about the value of the property? Okay, look at here. I can create multiple variable, or no, multiple objects, right? 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Right? I create 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 objects, and I run this. What do you see? All the objects have the same value for the properties. Why? Because I'm not able to pass in any different value. So by default, it will always take the default value of the property inside the class. Which means you create an object of the car, yeah, every time it's Tesla. There's no other type of the car, right? Can you modify later? Yes, you can, like this one, right? I create that and said my car.brand. I don't want to BMW, right? And now I print out the brand. Let's see, right? Yes, it is changed, but you have to create and then change it later. Okay. Now, if you have an init function, what do you see? When I create the object, I'm passing the value I want. I don't want an init value. I don't want the default value, right? I don't want everything be Tesla, right? I can pass in the what? Whatever the value I want. Okay. BMW model XX. Now, do you see a difference? If I run this, You see here for the BMW, okay, the value of the property is passed when you create the object. Okay, but if you don't have the init function, whatever you create object is always have the default value. That is not good, right? Because you create a class, you're definitely going to create object from the class, right? And you have different objects, they must have some different, right? They must have some different. Okay. Louis, do you understand? Louis, you there?
Yes, can you repeat it actually? I went to use the bathroom before.
Huh?
I went to use the bathroom and I just came back.
You just come back from the bathroom?
Yeah, it was like a minute ago.
Right. Okay, let me repeat that, right? And Julian, you understand or not? Julian? I don't see Julian. Okay. Fellas, do you understand it?
Yeah.
You understand different, okay? The two different ways how we define the class. Okay, one is just have the property and have the default value for the property. The second case is you have an init function, right? And then when you create the object, you need to pass in the value for those property, right? What's the difference? The difference is, yeah, you can create multiple objects, but the default value will be always Tesla. You want to change that? Yes, but you have to change it after create that, right? It's not convenient. Okay, so the second way is you can pass in the value of the property when you create the objects. Okay, whatever different value you wanted to have for the new object. So most of the case we can have to write the class in this format. Okay, Victor, you get that?
Yes, I think.
Okay, okay, good that, right? Very good. Okay, so I understand the class and the object is not easy to understand. Okay, so I'm gonna keep her, review and give you guys more practice on that, right? So after today, I prepared several slides, okay, which is based on your guys' interests. Okay, I'm using Fortnite as an example. Okay, you see this, right? Let me make it bigger. Jeffrey.
Yes.
Jeffrey,
Hello.
are you playing Fortnite?
No, of course not.
Okay. Louis, do you play Fortnite?
No, I don't play Fortnite.
Victor, do you play Fortnite?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Aston, do you play Fortnite?
I hate it. No.
Okay. Listen, it sounds like only you play Fortnite.
Fortnite splashed out.
Listen, you there?
Fortnite's trash.
Okay. Anyway, right? I just wanted using Fortnite as an example to explain you, to help you to understand the class and object, right? Listen, here, two pictures. Okay? Tell me which one is class, which one is object. Nathan, you there?
Class is the first one.
Class is the first one. This is object. Guys, right? That's the concept of class and object. Right? When I said it's prototype, it's a template, it's very hard to explain to you what is that. Right now, you look at this screen. Okay. Class is just like a framework, whatever. Prototype, I mean. Right? It has no details. Okay, I know it's a person. Now, how he look like, what he dressed, what the equipment he has, right? What's the name? What's the, detailed information? I don't know. That's called class. I only know, oh, the type of class need to have name, need to have dress, right? But on the right side, these people, more details, right? Looks like the man, although he wear the mask, and he had the skin, right? I know it's called a skin, right, in the game, right? And most of the game can change a different skin, right? Different dress, and it has some like equipment level. Okay, so those the right side picture is example of object. Okay, so let's take a look at what is the possible. We call it class, right? Can have. You know what? Actually, I can modify my slides more exact. I should delete this picture. No, I should make it like this. Okay, now let's take a look at this. That is better. What does it mean? I'm trying to say, hey, we're gonna create a character class. Okay, and we have to define what's the necessary properties and functions we need to put inside the class. Like what? He must have a name, right? And he need or she, right? The gender, the character need to have a gender, and the class need to have a skin, right? Whatever you dress, right? And it could have weapons, right? And it's not just one weapon, right? It can have a list of weapons, right? And in the namely, which means I can use different type of variable, right? Look at here, the name probably a string, right? Gender can be also a string. Skin, it can be a string, and it can also be an object. Because why? Because when we talk about skin, there's also different type of skin. Okay. Weapon, it will be a list of weapon. Okay, list of weapon. Right now we are using the list variable. HP, what's HP? Healthy, right? You have how many blood or HP left, right? And at the beginning, everyone had 100, right? And till 0, you die, right? So that is every character need have that called properties in the class. Besides the properties, we also have functions, right? Function means every character need have those actions, no matter which one is which, right? Boys or girls, or no matter how level, right? You are skilled player, you are the new player. It doesn't matter, right? Whatever the character you are playing, they must have those functions. For example, set skin, right? I know you can change the skin, right? So there must be a function called set skin, okay? And I can think about possible parameter, okay? Like skin 1 or whatever the value you pass in to set the skin. And now we can have a function called change weapon, right? I have a lot of weapons. The other actions are change weapon, switch weapon, right? And dance, right? I know in the waiting hall, I think the waiting stage, right? The character is dancing there, which means every character, right, have the dance function. Because the dance function will be called when it is needed, right? Shoot, definitely, it's a shooting game, right? In all the shooting game, for every character, they must have a shoot function, okay? And a walk, right? You need to walk, right? Including running, including crawl, including jumping, over whatever, right? There are some comma or necessary action we need added. So that's called a function. Okay? So this is how we define a prototype class. Now, we said try to create an detailed object, right? So now you come to the game, okay? You come to the game. And at the beginning of the game said, hey, the game gonna let you that, what's your name, right? What's your name? I'm gonna say, my name is Alan, right? I put my information, which means what? It's collect value for the properties used to initialize this character object, right? I create object, right, from the character class, okay? Gender is man, skin, I don't know, a white, I don't know what's the skin called, right? White dress, whatever, right? The address, right? Weapon, I don't know, it can be a list. You know, weapon, shotgun. Well, what else? Rocket, whatever. Okay. And HP, right? Everybody will just join the game. You have 4 HP, 100. Okay. That's it. So when I join the game, the game gonna initialize an object for you from the character class. If you have 100 characters in the game, okay, what does it mean? You're gonna have 100 objects of character class in the game. Only one class called character class, but you initialize 100 objects, right, of the character class. Okay, what's the comma? What's the difference? The 100 player. The 100 player, they have their own name, they have their own skin, right? They have their own weapons. They have different HP, right? Not everyone has the same HP, right? When HP be reduced to 0, this player is die. Okay, that's a difference. But what's the same thing? Their action are the same. Remember, their action are the same. So no matter what level or what kind of player in the game, they have the same function or same action. Set a skin, change a weapon, dance, shoot, work. Because why? Because they are coming from the same class, right? Same class means I may have the different value for the property, but the function are the same, right? This picture, listen, on this picture, how many class do we have here? Or you needed?
8 class.
Listen, class and object. How many class do we have here, or how many objects do we have here?
We have 1 class and 8 objects.
Okay? Guys, understand? Any question? Victor, now you understand the different concept here? This example?
Yes, I think.
Okay. Let's take a look at the second example. Weapon, right? So that is also an object in the game, right? We can find different objects in our real life also, right? So in the game, beside the character, we said that, hey, we probably need another class called weapon. Why? Because in the game, it can have different kinds of weapon, right? Now look at here. Okay, fellas, tell me which one is class, which one is object. Left one, right one, fellas.
The left one is class and the right one is object.
Okay, again, right. Class is a prototype. Okay, you want to have a weapon? Fine, right? You need to follow the prototype, and then you can create different type of weapon. Okay, the object is more detailed, right? You already have the value for those properties. That's called an object. Okay, so let's take a look at this example. I have a class called weapon. I can have properties. I can have functions. Now we can have different properties: type, name, max bullets, right? Max bullets means what? Means like we can reload the weapon, reload the bullet, right? But it has a maximum, right? Like every time you can only load 100 bullets, right? If you shoot up the 100 bullet, you have to reload your bullets, right? I have a skin. I mean, here skin actually means the look and feel, right? It's different from the character skin. They're more like look, I don't know, look and feel, right? Or appearance. Okay, of the weapon. And then, of course, all the weapon has uncommon functions. Show, the reason why I put a show, I think because in the game, right, you need to switch the weapon. Okay, which means for one weapon, it has two different states. Either holding your hands or hide it. I don't know where he hide that, right? It's not, realistically correct because how can he or she carry so many weapons? Whatever, right? For a weapon, you can hold it in the character's hand, or you can put it or hide it or put it in your back, whatever, right? So there's a function called shoot. Reload, right? If it's a gun, you have a reload function, right? Reload the function, reload the bullet, and then definitely fire. Okay. So if you call the weapon fire, which means in the game, the weapon gonna shoot in the start shooting. Okay. So that's the object. So that's a class. Now, if this is the object, how are we gonna initialize the class? Look here, right? Type. So what's the type of this game? What's the type of this weapon?
Drum gun.
Huh?
It's Midas' drum gun.
Yes.
Drum gun. Okay, I don't know what's that. I call it bigger gun. Okay, so that can be different, like long, short, or cold, hot. You know the cold weapon and the hot weapon, right? So there must be some different type of the weapon. Oh, drum gun. Okay. Yeah. So again, right? You give me the name, right? Drum gun. Drum gun. That's the name. Okay, of the weapon. Right? Our type. We have a name. Maximum bullet. How many? 500. Right? That must be a maximum or limit. Right? And then appearance. I don't know. Yeah, appearance means how it looks like. Maybe the same gun will have different look and feel, right? So we just give a name of that, right? So this appearance of the gun is called, I don't know, classic. Okay? So that's it. I create what? An object, right, from this class. Okay, of course, right? I mean, I think I cannot find a better picture of the prototype of the weapon, but you understand that, right? So I create an object of the class, right? Which means what? Which means I'm having assigned the value for each property inside the class. Okay? And now you have a different weapon. Look at here. Yeah, different. I don't know how many weapons they have in the game, right? But these are different weapon example. What are they called? They are called objects. Objects of weapon class. Okay? And of course, you may have a question said, hey, I can see the weapon which is cold weapon, right? And some of them are hot weapon, right? Hot weapon. Cold means like a sword, hammer, right? These are called cold weapon, right? And we have a hot weapon which you can shoot the bullet. Then maybe they can use in the same weapon class, right? And they just have a different type of the value for the type will be different. Right? But in this case, you know, some of the function may not meaningful. Why? Why I say so, right? If you said, hey, I have a weapon called a sword, then definitely sword should not have a function called reload, right? Reload. But anyway, in this case, what we normally do is you may create a separate class, right? Maybe just called cold weapon, right? And then, you know what? This is actually helps me introduce the next topic I want to talk about. Why I say so? Because in the world, okay, we can create a class for different things in our life, right? But sometimes you found maybe one class cannot cover all the or group of type of things. This example, right? And we call that weapons. But even not all weapons, but they still have different category, right? Because different category may result in different properties or different function. So how can I do that? You can create two separate class, right? Where's my? Maybe you said, hey, I have okay. I said I have a different class. This class is called what? Hot weapon. Okay. I need to take a screenshot of this. Right? I said, hey, what about this? This is not hot weapon, right? We cannot reload. So what we're gonna do? That's fine. I can create a different class called a cold weapon. Okay. So the two classes will have something different, right? Type, yeah. I mean, we can still have a type. Name, yeah. I need a name, right? I need a name. It's the sword, right? Sword. Even inside the cold weapon, right? I can have different type of a sword or I don't know, what else? Hammer, right? They're different. Name, maximum bullet. So here, maximum bullet definitely not a good property for code weapon, right? So I delete it. Why do I need it? Appearance, yes, we need appearance, right? For the code weapon also, model, whatever. What about function? Show, yeah, I can show the weapon or hide the weapon. Reload, I don't need reload. Fire, if it's a code weapon, I don't use fire, right? What is the better action word for the code weapon? Attack or attack or hit, whatever. Hit. Okay. So what do you found? I have two classes. The two classes have some common properties, common functions. But again, I cannot using another one, right? To the another. Right? What I said, you have two options. Either you create two classes. What's the second option? The second option is I'm going to introduce a very important concept called inheritance. Inheritance. Okay. Class inheritance. That's spelling correctly. Yeah, I think I explained correctly. Okay. What does it mean? It means I can have a parent class of my class. So class also have parent-children relationship. Okay? So in this case, what I'm gonna do is I said I wanted to have a weapon. Okay, let me make it more. What do you see? I have a weapon class. Right? It has all the common property for different type of the weapon. Type, name, appearance. And then I have a common property, or not common property, common function, right, for both weapons. Two. It's called parent class. Okay, I have a parent class. Now what I'm gonna do for my hot weapon and the cold weapon? What I'm gonna do is set weapon. When I define the children class, we given the parent class name inside of the parentheses. It means I create relationship with the class weapon, the parent and the children relationship. Then what's the impact? If I have a relationship, which means whatever the properties and function we have in the parent class, it will be inherited. Are you guys listening? Jeffrey, are you following?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
If there is a class, right, who has a parent class, what does it mean? Jeffrey,
What?
what's the meaning of a parent class? If one class has a parent class, what does it mean?
It means that it's like it's a smaller division of the parent class.
Smaller subclass of the parent one, right?
Yeah.
and it will inherit all the properties and the functions from the parent class. Okay, so in this case, do I need to create those properties or define the property inside my children class? No, you don't need. Because why? Whatever I have in the parent class, you inherited already. Okay, so now in this case, I just need to define whatever the property and functions specifically in your children class. Victor, you get my point.
I think so.
You understand it or not?
I guess.
Okay, look at here. I have a parent class called weapon. I have a 3 common, come back here, right? I have a parent class weapon. It has 3 common properties, 1 common function. And I have what? 2 children class. Here, when I create a class which is inherited from a parent class, what do you need to do? You need to put the class name, the parent class name, inside what? Inside the parentheses when you create the children one. Okay? And now, inside the children class, right? Besides those inherited properties, I just need to create or define those properties which is specific to my children class. Okay? So let me ask you, code weapon. Julian, if I create an object of code weapon, okay, how many properties does it have? Julian? Oh, sorry, Julian is not here, right? And listen, if I create an object of code weapon, how many properties do I have? Listen.
3.
Huh?
3.
3, what are they?
Type, name, and appearance.
Okay, how many functions does it have?
2.
Okay, what are they?
Show and hit.
Okay, so you guys understand the relationship and the impact? Louis, what about hot weapon? If I create an object of hot weapon, how many properties do I have? Louis. Louis, you there? Victor. Victor?
Yeah.
If I create an object of hot weapon, how many properties does it have?
I think 1.
4. So you say 4, 1. Victor?
Oh, wait, you mean total? I think it's 4.
It's 4, right? 3 properties inherited from his parents, plus 1 property defined by himself. But again, this property is only can be visible in the hard weapon, not in the cold weapon. Okay? What about function? How many functions does a weapon have? Victor. Victor?
Yes, I think it has 3.
3, right?
Yeah.
2 functions plus 1 function from the parent class. Let me quickly do example to you guys. I know it will be more. Okay, so now look, it's using car, okay? Because why? Because I have the last pages have the car as example. Look at here. Look at this one, vehicle. Right? We're talking about car. Okay, maybe above car, we can create a parent class called a vehicle. Okay, and under vehicle, we can have different type of vehicle, right? Car, plane, boat. Are they called vehicle? Okay, yeah. So now what I do is I said class, right? VHIS, right? Vehicle. Okay, so we have a name. Would I have a name? Okay, and I want it. So I want it to be in it. Okay, in it. Init name. Every vehicle has a name. Okay, no matter it's a car, plane, or boat. Okay, so here I want the self name equals to name. And the vehicle must have a function called a start engine. Right? Start engine. Now I have start engine, whatever. Okay, have a function like this. Plus. That's my parent class. But you hear, I didn't add any parent, okay? I didn't say that, okay, it's a parent class. No, okay? It's a normal way how we define a class. The parent class or not parent class is only defined when I create the children class. I have a class, children class, car. Again, you want to create a parent class for yourself, you have to make sure you put the class name inside the practice when you create the children class, right? Fine. Okay, now you have to think about, besides the name, what else specific property for a car? And where? Okay? Yeah, where? What else? Form. Is that called form? Or sunroof, whatever. I just give some property which is specific to a car, okay? Now, self dot field equals to where? Self dot sunroof equals to sunroof. And we also need to think about what are the function which is not common in all the vehicle, but specific to the car only, right? Yeah, great. Okay, at the same time, I can have plane. Not plane, let me say boat. Okay, again, I wanted to create another children class, which is from take a look at the parent class. So now def init. For boat, what do we have? What's the property we can have for the boat? What's that called? Anchor? How to spell that? Anchor? Maybe it's spelled wrong, whatever. You guys understand what I'm talking about, right? Def, I don't know, float. Okay, float. You see, understand this. I create a class called vehicle. I put the most common properties and functions, right, inside my vehicle class. Because why? Because I want to use vehicle as my parent class. Okay, so now I want to create a car and a boat. They are the children class. I'm taking, when I define the class, I'm passing the vehicle as something like parameter, right? So be part of the class definition, which means vehicle is parent of the car. And here, inside the car, I do have specific properties to the car and also functions. Same thing for the boat. right? So now I create the top, right? I need a parsing what? I need a parsing where and a loop. Where are no for some loop, yeah, has some loop, right? Yes. Or whatever, true, right? It means I have a sun loop, okay? And I have a boat, not boat, I don't know, create a boat called ship, okay? I need a parsing anchor. Anchor is true. Okay, so let me see. Name. Oh, there's another thing I want to talk about quickly is about the, because here when I try to initialize the child or children class, you do need to pass in the value for the children's property, right? But themes is inherited from parent. There's also one more property is called name. Can I pass in name here? Definitely you can pass in name here, right? But the problem is the name is not part of the children class. I need to go to the parent class to initialize that, right? So how can I do that? Right, I think here we have that information. Person.init. We can use person. Look at here. Student person. Person is the parent. Parent.init. But actually, we can have a different way called super. Okay, super means parent. Okay, so now we can use this. Okay, so come back here. Right, I also take a name, but the name is not my name. Right, the name is inherent from my parent class. So I'm using soup.init name. Here's this. What am I doing here? Inside one init function, I'm calling its parent init function. I'm passing the property value which is used in the parent initialization. Right. Same thing here. For the boat, I'm doing the same thing. Right. So now here I need to set the name is food call. And I know XYZ boat. Okay, so I create two objects, right? Now I want to use that. I print Ford. Can I print food directly? Let me see. Okay, it's then doing something. It just tell you it's a car class, right? So now we need to use the property. Name. What do we hear? We have the Ford class. That's the value of the name. But again, the name is not direct property of my car subject, right? But instead, it's the property inherited from its parent class called a vehicle. Okay? Same thing for the function. Remember here, right? The property you can use in your children class. Same thing as the function. So here, if I call the function, said print something, okay? Called in the parent class. Okay. If I do Ford dot, do you see the function here? This is a property, right? So wheel, sunroof, and we have brake, and we have a start engine, right? Start engine. If I run this, You see? The function inside the parent class is called, right? What about the XYZ? XYZ is the object of old class, right? Of course, I have the name, right? But can I have wheels, right? Let's try. Bring out the wheels of XYZ. Run this. Let's give you arrow. Why? Because both object has no attribute wheel. Okay. Where is the only property, right, defined in the car class? Okay, you cannot use that because both the parent is the vehicle, but we don't have wheels in the vehicle, right? That's the reason why you cannot use wheels. It's not your property. Just like here, right? The cold weapon cannot use the property called max bullets. Okay, but it can only use the property in the parent class. Okay, so it's not working. But what about the start engine? Yeah, you can use that because why? Because that's a function from the parent. Any children class can use that, right? Then what about the function? Float. Can I say float? Let's call that. No, right? Our object has no attribute called float or the function called float. Just like you cannot call x, y, z boat.break, right? No, break is the function is only specific to car. Okay? We don't have that inherent from my parent class. That's the reason why you cannot use that. Okay, so that is it about the parent and the children class. Do we have any question? Victor, you understand it now?
I think.
Okay. Alice, you understand it?
Yes.
Okay. So there's more example of the parent and the children class, right? Picture can have a common property, title price, and a function called update price. But picture can be a photographic picture or painting picture. They are called a children class. They may have different properties and different functions. Okay. Same thing like this. Shapes. Shapes is a parent class, right? It can have the multiple children class, triangle, circle, square. Okay, because they are the different subclass. We can also call that subclass. Maybe they have different specific property and functions. Okay, so that's it for today's class. Okay, if no more question, that's it. Thank you guys, and I'm gonna give you guys assignment today. Okay, again, right? Try to take a look at the assignment as early as possible. If you have any question, okay, send me messages, right? Or attend the Thursday night class, okay? But please, okay, try writing the code by yourself first, okay? Okay, thank you everyone, and have a good night. Any comments?
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, no more questions. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye.